Hi everyone, thanks for joining in. I'm excited to have Amanda joining me. Hi Enni.
Hi, nice to be here.
So, for those who are regular viewers for Global Girls Online Book Club, you might remember that Enni has joined us before as author for the day. So, good to have you back again.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. It was fun to do that also for the day thing. It was a unique concept. I like
Yeah,
how
I'm
you.
glad. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So, Enni's a graphic designer moonlighting as a rom-com author, or maybe it's the other way round. In 2006, she and her husband moved from Finland to New Zealand and fell in love with the gorgeous islands and their laid-back people. They spent 8 years travelling between the two rather inconveniently located countries, studying filmmaking and running a film festival. Through all the filmmaking, Enni discovered a passion for screenwriting, which eventually led to writing books. Her heartwarming, funny stories explore real life issues like identity, found family, and the housing crisis. These days, she lives in the Waikato, close to the rolling hills of the Shire, raising two cute, rambunctious boys while writing away and ignoring housework. And have to say thanks so much for sending me a copy of my Lucky
Oh,
Star.
yeah, you got that one. Yes, awesome.
Yeah, it was great to receive that. Do you want to start off by telling us a bit about my Lucky Star?
Yeah, that was my latest rom-com, which that cover probably doesn't look quite on genre. So this is
Oh, okay, that's
the
quite
one.
different, isn't it?
It was
Mm,
actually released under like this is what you see when you search on Amazon. This pops
mm.
up. And the one that you were holding up is the like special hardcover edition that I did just to kind of celebrate this release. And yeah, I've just really loved doing that style of design. But it's not a fantasy book. It is a like spicy rom-com, and yeah, so that's more representative of the genre, I think. Um, this was born from me kind of falling in love with Turkish TV, and
Mm.
yeah, so it's a very special book in that sense. And last year we were on the road for about 9 months, traveling back in Finland and around Europe, and kind of showing the kids where we are from, and it was a very special, very stressful year. And one of the best parts of it was that I got to visit Istanbul with my husband.
Mm.
So we left the kids with the grandparents and just ran away for 4 days and explored the city. And so after watching a lot of Turkish television, then I got to like really dive in and talk to people there, and found some people that I could interview. And then I also hired a Turkish babysitter that I bugged with a lot of questions. So I went into like down this like rabbit hole of Turkish culture and all things Turkish, and it's quite fascinating at this age to kind of, I don't know, it's just a, for me it was like a breath of fresh air because it's so different, and it's like a real melting pot of cultures over there.
Mm.
It's the only city in the world that's on two different continents. So it's
Oh,
like
okay,
really
yeah.
where East meets West,
Mm.
kind of like everything comes together. Religion, everything kind of lives
Mm.
in this uh, sort of like a weird balance. It strikes a weird balance that you don't find anywhere else.
Mm.
And so there's a lot there that fascinated me. And then the whole world of these like Turkish soap operas that are hugely popular, and they're getting more and more popular worldwide. And so people are watching them with English subtitles everywhere. And it's Turkey's biggest export at the moment. I think that's like TV and film. That's what they do, and it's just yeah, that's where it kind of was born. I thought, well, they are known in their own circles, but they're not known like Hollywood actors
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
feeling. So you kind of like you can. build up the scenario where you know, a huge Turkish star ends up in New Zealand and nobody knows who he is. So I thought that's just a delicious kind of starting point. It's like, hey, this story there, I can like keep digging in and find something. And so that, yeah, I really enjoyed writing it. It was bringing together my love for New Zealand and like the real laid back Kiwi culture, and then Turkish sort of formality and decorative kind of flavor. And it's just, they're very like, yeah, very polar opposite kind of and cultures, and bringing together two people from these cultures and kind of seeing that clash and spark. And it's just, yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
And yeah, and with reading it, like that's what I really liked, was the Turkish element to it, and also with myself being from New Zealand, a book set in New Zealand as well, which I really loved. Napier, it was, wasn't it, where it was
Yeah,
set?
and that was another
Yeah.
special thing about, like, I wanted a place in New Zealand that's also very special and has it's like it's not necessarily representative of every New Zealand city, but it's very yeah, it's a fascinating place. I love the look of it. And then there's kind of like this connection point of history and how people view historical things and what's considered historical, like what would be considered historical and worth preserving in New Zealand would be something that they would just like carelessly renovate and knock over in Turkey because they have. They'd be like, oh, it's from the 1800s. Doesn't matter at all. So there's this whole like a completely different viewpoint, but at the same time, this sort of appreciation of beauty from the past, because it's similar things, kind of similar. They're just from different eras, and in Istanbul, it's far older and just different. But yeah, it's still like, I love that sort of juxtaposition in there.
And you said like you watched a bit of Turkish TV or films, and is there anything you can recommend that we should be checking out?
Well, my first introduction, and I think I'm still like, that's still the one that I love the most for some weird reason, is Erkensikus, which is I think it's been exported into the English-speaking world with two different names. One is Early Bird, and the other one was, I can't remember what it was, but you'll probably find it with Early Bird, which is a direct translation. It's a romantic comedy, so obviously that's close to my heart. But yeah, and the couple there was like, that was my like visual inspiration sort of behind everything, the whole story. And so there's a lot that I kind of drew from that. And then from that, I ended up watching a few other shows, which were more or less similar genre, similar things. Like I haven't watched a whole lot of, they do a lot of period drama as well, like that kind of, a lot from the Ottoman times, like they're very popular. I haven't watched a lot of that, but there's a lot out there like this. Yeah, gorgeous things.
I'll
and
have
even
to
on, like,
I'll have
Netflix,
to search it up and look at one. Yeah. Because
yeah.
there are some really great on Netflix. I think I've watched a Spanish series with subtitles and really, really loved it. So it is good to see some other cultures
Netflix is
series.
picking up the left and right. Like there's lots and lots from there. There was one that was was historical, like a longer series, and we did visit one of the like locations that was used for that, and it was absolutely gorgeous, this old hotel. And yeah, this is definitely worth exploring if you are kind of wary of Hollywood shows, or you kind of feel like there's something a little bit old-fashioned about the Turkish drama. It's more centered around family and that sort of like conservative values around marriage and that kind of things. But then it's also like high fashion and really like everyone's flawless and so gorgeous that it's like intimidating to watch. but but yeah, they're fascinating, and they really milk the romantic moments. Like
yeah.
take everything out of them that they can, and
Mm,
when you watch a little bit of that, and you really get into that kind of rhythm and flow, and you enjoy that, and you go back to watching something that's Hollywood made, it feels rushed. It feels really like,
yeah.
you didn't give me any time to enjoy this. Like, oh my god, that was a really really cool moment, and you just
Mm.
like cut to the next scene. Turkish TV, no, you'll get all the good stuff.
No, sounds good.
So
I'll
that's
be
what I've been.
searching it up to see what I can find. Thanks for that. Also, English isn't your first language. When you write, do you write in English when you write your books first?
Yeah. I think I write and think in English. It would be impossible for me to kind
Yeah.
of switch back and forth. And if
Mm,
I have to talk about my books in Finnish, I struggle with certain terms or words. Like I can talk and talk.
mm,
Obviously, it's my native tongue, but there's certain things. If you learn them in a different language, then your vocabulary is lacking a little bit.
yeah.
Like the same problem with like filmmaking stuff. I've learned it in English, so in
Mm.
Finnish, yeah. And I
Any
always
chance later
discover
to, do you think later you might publish any of them in Finnish?
I would not translate my own work.
Yeah, you would have.
Probably sounds crazy, but yeah, I think translation is its own skill set. That's completely.
Mm,
I have huge respect for people that do
mm,
it, but it's not me. Like, I would probably check it and make sure that I'm happy with it and all
yeah.
that. But yeah, it's a tough job.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. And could you tell us a bit about how you got your first book published?
Well, I've all my books are indie published, so it's
Mm,
really not that hard to do. My secret weapon is obviously that I'm a graphic designer, so I could do the covers and I could
mm,
save a lot on
mm,
that, and kind of that got me down this road of doing more cover design for other authors. So I kind of shifted my business that way over the years and all that. But when I first started, I was completely clueless, and I think I published my first book sort of by accident. Like I just uploaded it somewhere when it was online. Oh, is this how it works? I had no idea. So, yeah, that's me. I see authors now entering the market, like doing all this research and doing it the right way and being
mm.
very prepared and like writing three or more books and then rapid releasing them and doing all like they have all these plans and they're following them, and that's cool. When I started, I was just like stumbling my way through. It was terrible. Yeah, I didn't even know that Amazon existed to sell books. Like I didn't know
Oh,
that that was a
really?
thing. Never bought a book from
Yeah.
Amazon. Go to the library and the bookstore, and that was my
Yeah.
like, yeah,
And
terrible.
we've got a few people watching, so just wanted to say to those watching, if you've got any questions for Enni, please type them in comments and I can read them out. Um, Kelly wonders if it's easier to write sweet or spicy romantic books.
Oh, neither of those are easy. I, for me, I yeah, I haven't really struggled either way. I think my um, approach to writing either or has been kind of I've never actually closed the door like they call sweet romance. Sometimes they call it closed door
mm,
romance,
mm,
and I've never actually written a book where I'm like there's a that sort of scene and I'm closing the door to the reader. I've never actually written it that way. So um and I have nothing against doing that, but I never felt like stepping that far back. I was like, I need to be there and see what
mm,
happens.
mm.
I'm too curious. So my sweet books are just the story just takes place before the first spicy scene, so to speak. So I've written books where we don't get to that. It's like the romance is more on that, yeah. And I I like that. I like reading it as well when when there's enough of the romance that it's not just about the spice, it's not just about physical attraction, because it's easy to kind of confuse the two and have, I think it's not just a book thing. People confuse those two in real life, so that sort of bleeds into novels. So yeah, people think that they are in love and it's something really really special, but it might be largely physical or something that's kind of like you're just like really high on hormones, and I kind of want to explore both sides of the coin, and kind of like I think both are really important, and you kind of like you sort of, for me personally, I prefer to have both sides to a love story, like the whole falling in love, the physical aspect, and then everything else that kind of goes with that whole growth story, and like finding someone who completes you and someone who challenges you, and finding that like gradually finding out more and more about them, and like I often think that you need to write characters whose flaws fit together. So you kind of have to somehow explore them deep enough to get to that point where you don't explain it to the reader, but it's there. If they've gone on the journey with you, they can kind of feel it and sense it, like this is why these people work together, why this thing works. And then you can, yeah, just having spicy scenes doesn't really convince anyone of that. But yeah, I don't find it. I found it surprisingly easy to actually write the spicy scenes in the end. I don't know. I just sort of half accidentally slipped into that because I had a very high tension book that I was writing, and then I sent it to my editor, and she's like, "Well, there's got to be a spicy scene in here. Like, this is leaving me very frustrated." I'm like, "Okay, I hear you." And I wrote the spicy scene and sent it back, and she's like, "Yeah, okay, no, it's working." Like, and then once I've done it once, I was like, "This isn't actually hard at all." Yeah, it's just stuck with it.
Yeah.
Wasn't really a decision. Like I didn't do a market research or go like, "Oh, this is what people want," or so. Yeah.
And what about what you like reading yourself? Is there anything you might have read lately that you'd like to recommend to us?
Yeah, I try to read a little bit more widely now, but I do read quite a few books by fellow authors, and I try to read like by local authors that I know from New Zealand, Australia, and kind of it's just fun that way because it feels like they're close, and you kind of get a sense of who they are as well. So I've been really into reading books by people who I talk to online or I'm friends with. So kind of it's a way of learning about them, and it's like it's almost like deepening the friendship when you read their books. And also I've enjoyed them, so that's all a bonus. One that I read lately was by a friend, another New Zealand author, Jen Morris, and her book She Was Made for Me or something. That's the title, I think. That's a new series starter for her. I've read her previous series, which is all like they're all based in New York. She likes writing stories that are based in New York.
And are they rom-coms?
Yeah, they're spicy rom-coms, spicier than mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this last series is more of like forbidden romance, forbidden love. So there's always some like taboo element, but it's not like hugely dark or twisted in that. It's very mild, and I don't think I don't enjoy the very twisted kind of stuff that if you spend time on book talk or that kind of place, there's certain titles that get recommended over and over that I'm like kind of just, oh, what is that? But yeah, and then I just mix it up with like I've pick up things from secondhand sales, things like that. Like right now,
Oh yes, yeah.
I turned the right years and years ago in Finnish, and then I'm like, I really want to read it in English and to kind of get a sense of what it was like, how it was written, and all. So that it's just fun to mix it up with like really old and new and different genres. And sometimes, yeah, I love crime novels as well. I think I spent years just reading, basically reading like Scandi noir type crime novels. That I don't know, I just fell into that and read a lot of those. Um, so I wasn't like always on romance either, and maybe that's where, yeah, I have this like deep need for drama and like high stakes. Like I want high stakes. Even in romance, I need high stakes and I need like everything to be on the line. And I need the third act breakup. Like don't give me one where everything's perfect and nothing sits apart. I need like yeah. So I think there's an element that's kind of seeping through into romance, right? There's definitely different levels of romance, and there's like the really cozy, sweet, lovely, feels like a hug, nothing bad ever happens, and it's set in a village that's so fantastic, it doesn't exist. Kind of, I like real places a little bit better, or places that are at least modeled after something that feels real, with real world problems as well, because we live, with these issues. It's like there's no escape.
Yeah.
So I understand that people want to escape and they want something that's completely like different and it lets them like leave this reality. I understand the need, but at the same time, I struggle to suspend my disbelief. Like I really I need some reality there that convinces me that this that I can get on board and this is real and this, because you have to kind of trick your brain.
And what do you hope readers will love about your books?
I hope that they discover that sort of mixture of reality meeting something a little bit imaginary. That kind of I want that magic, but within real life context, where you can kind of really imagine yourself in there. Like imagine that you're going on this journey and this could happen. I'm trying to take maybe it's for people who have trouble suspending their disbelief and they need someone to like really convince them that this, believe in it. It's happening. It's real. It does happen. And I have my own real life love story where I've been married for 20 something years, very, very long. I can't remember exactly, but it's like, and it's possible. It's possible to find that. And so I do want to believe in it, and I want to kind of, I think that'll always show in what you write and how you write it.
And do you have a favourite place to do your writing?
Well, I have two kids, so I just hide from them wherever I can. Like one of my books was primarily written sitting in our van, like outside in the driveway after dark, because there was no place in the house where they wouldn't find me. And no other place to go. Right now, I have an office for our business which I can access nighttime, which is amazing. So I sneak in there and just sit in their little hush pod they use for meetings, and that's perfect. It's like you can't hear anything. It's like completely sealed, airtight.
Oh, amazing. And what about what you're doing at the moment? Are you working on something new?
I am actually working on the sequel to My Lucky Star. So there's
there's going to be a sequel. Amazing.
The story of Hero's brother, who's another Turkish guy, very different Turkish guy. And it's a very different story, obviously, but there's similar elements with the two cultures, and also I get to explore them a little bit further. And I've been working on that for a few months now, but at the same time, kind of we had to put a little bit more effort into our building our business and doing all that, because we started started a new business this year and expanded our design business into a few other areas. So we're it's been a lot of work in that. So sneaking out at night and doing it. I'm right in the middle of the third act there, and kind of hoping to finish soon and have the ugly first draft that I can then start editing.
And Kelly wonders if you've got a favourite romance writer.
I am a big fan of Lucy Score. I really like her sense of humor, and it's like, because there are a lot of authors who deliver the romance well, and she does that as well. But then she's got this really unique, funny style, and really really good way with the banter and all that. So she's one of my go-to authors, definitely.
Well, thanks so much for chatting with me. It's great having you back. Look forward to hearing more about more books that you're writing, and hopefully having you involved again in our group.
Oh, thank you. It'd be lovely.
And thanks for those who joined in and asked questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.